Hello everybody, welcome. This video that you're about to see was filmed a couple of months ago. What I was going to do, I don't want this to be outdated now, I feel like I've dated this. It's not that long ago, just a couple of months ago anyway. Earlier this year, what I was going to do was a sort of quarantine lockdown movie marathon video where I would watch 10 or 12 films over a couple of weeks when we were in isolation and talk about them in this one big super video and put it all together and stuff like that. Everybody else does it on YouTube. I thought I'd finally do a marathon video for movies, but it never happened. I ended up watching more Netflix series and Disney Plus series and wrestling and recording podcasts and all that stuff. So the video just never happened, but we started it. And I filmed three films, talking about the films that I watched in that sort of attempted marathon video. So I'm going to release them as individual videos, this one and two others that have been released sometime recently on the channel. And this is one of those videos, so please take it with a pinch of salt. The context was, it was going to be a marathon video, but it wasn't anymore. It wasn't to be. Maybe somewhere down the line, if we get a lockdown 2, which is likely, we'll do the marathon then. But until then, this is what it was going to be, and here's one of the reviews.
Oh, I just started on remote control.
Don't do that. Okay, I just choked on some water. Did you hear that? When I sat down, that was all my knuckles
It was
going.
like...
Right, oh god, what a horrible. I'm going to fix the light. I'm going to see. I think that's better. I had a haircut today. Move over a bit, you're like the 80s.
Yeah, I was saying how they sit so
Everybody
close.
sits like that. I had a haircut today. My dad helped cut my hair, and we went. It's fine, and the back of it is cut nicely. But then it's like I've got really thick hair, so when like the bit that I kind of flick over meets the bit that was being cut, it's just my dad was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
He's
it's
not a
just
trained barber,
It is just kind of floating, but
so it's like all
this
this
bit's fine, but...
all this bit around here is like nice and shaved, and then here it's just like the rest of my hair.
Some people have their hair like that, so you know what, you're fine.
It's a quarantine haircut for sure, and hopefully we can get back to normality in terms of going to get a haircut on a normal basis soon. But speaking of people with daft haircuts, we just watched The Outsiders. Thank you for purchasing it. We had to buy it on Amazon
Yeah,
Prime.
I paid for it.
Managed to get it on Amazon for...
I told Mum and Dad, and they're like, what do you mean you paid for it? I was like, it's only £2 or something now.
It's £3, you have to watch your balance. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I've seen it. It's one of as you say, it's one of those ones that it's kind of like nice to say you've seen a film from that kind of era, but it's so 80s, it's unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying, like the first time I watched that I wouldn't have known any better.
Yeah.
I've seen it twice, but I don't know.
For those of them have seen it, basically it's about two gangs, one called the Greasers, who are kind of like poor and stuff and they've got greasy hair, and the Socks, who are kind of like rich and snobby and getting the fights
I
and
actually
stuff.
called them the Socks earlier on, but it's Sochies.
Aye.
The Soch. But I keep saying the Socks.
I mean, it's written down as SOCS, so Socks to me. They're always fighting and stuff and they're getting into conflicts and they're trying to steal each other's girlfriends and things like that. And then one member of the Greases ends up stabbing one of the Sochies, probably one of the main Sochies, and they have to go on the run. They run away, and then they end up getting involved in some sort of fire to save some school children, and that kind of brings them home and paints them as kind of heroes rather than villains and people who are in trouble with the police. And then it culminates with this big gang fight between the two gangs. That's what I got from the film.
I think it's very much, it has a lot of, not similarities because obviously they're very different, but with the film of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
With like, what's his name, Martuccio?
And I was going to say like the Capulets and the Montagues. But
it's just very 80s.
1983 came out, and you can absolutely tell, and I've said this before, like if you don't tell me what era or what decade a film is from and I just watch it, I can tell. This is so 80s, it's crazy, and it's early 80s as well, because 80s is a very distinct decade, and a lot of people think the 80s is like their favourite decade for films, and I totally get that because there's so many changes that go throughout it. Like late 80s films are totally different from say The Outsiders or Back to the Future, which is mid 80s and that sort of thing. But there's so many similarities in terms of the way the dialogue is said, and some of the movements that it's almost like, it's weird when you kind of study acting, you kind of nowadays it's more naturalistic and you want to make it look as real as possible, Whereas I think back in the day, like in the late 70s, early 80s, there seems to be this style that has to be like film acting, and they're totally doing it in this when they're kind of going up to each other and they're like, yeah, yeah, and they're kind of like, and it's so over the top, but that's just the way it was back then, and it's so prevalent in this film. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Who is your favourite member of them?
Ponyboy, absolutely, because he's the main guy.
You
know what I mean?
Ponyboy. When I was younger, Ponyboy was my favourite, but probably Solar Pop's my favourite.
He doesn't do anything.
I know, but I like Dallas as well. I've always liked Dallas, even though
He's a good guy. At first, I was thinking he's going to bug me, see when he's kind of like annoying the girls and stuff. But he turns into a really good character.
Not like Dallas Winston. That's the point of his character, I think. Though it's like he's one of those characters where you think you're not going to like, and then you just can't help. Like,
I reckon, like in the 80s, like he was probably like an iconic.
He was like, you know, everyone's like, oh, young Leonardo DiCaprio. Who? It's like young Matt Dillon.
Is that Matt Dillon? Right.
Him.
And then young Tom Cruise didn't even
Chris
clock.
was like, is Tom Cruise even in this? And I was like, yeah, that's him. And he was like,
I was like, oh yeah, you could tell from like the shape of his face. Really.
Sometimes, yeah, if it's not like straight on or whatever, sometimes you catch him and you go, oh, that is Tom Cruise.
Directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Which I didn't know until today, which is interesting.
And you can tell it's a really pretty film. Like a lot of the shots are really, really nice. Like in terms of, I mean, it's not the greatest in terms of CGI and stuff, but in terms of like the way the camera's framed, where the actors are kind of lying there, like lying back, and you can see the stars in the background of the sunsets and that sort of thing. It looks really nice, and it's obviously done on purpose because he's such a famous director or whatever, you know.
I'm curious to see how similar it is to the book by S.E. Hinton.
You've never read it?
No, but I'm going to buy it. But I've always like known of the book, obviously. But when I was younger, I'd seen the film first. So
cool. Well, good choice. Thanks for bringing it into my life. Now it's time for my film. We're getting the sibling. What's the word? Sibling recommendations out of the way early.
How the walls are different colours.
It shows our personalities.
Like I know it's our
lovely and light, and then dark, and we're both very pale. Doesn't matter.
I do realise that it's my house, and I should have noticed that. But that's quite cool.
Right, guess what film are we going to watch from our recommendations?
My guess, are you going to give me any hints?
It's a film I love. It's from the 90s.
90s.
It's a film I've been telling you to watch for ages.
Is it The Breakfast Club?
Nope.
Right, okay, because that's 80s, isn't it?
That's 80s, and we just
That's what
watched
I
the
was
80s film.
thinking, and I was like...
98, I think the film came out in. A very big actor, famous actor.
You've been telling me to watch.
Well, or I've recommended to you, and I've said I want to watch this with you. Just start naming films.
I don't know.
Okay, I should show you. I got it here. It's going to be The Truman Show.
Oh!
I hope you don't mind because you get no choice in the matter.
I don't mind. That's cool.
We're going to watch Jim Carrey, and we're going to do it right now before it gets any later, but we're going to get snacks first.
Yes, snacks are a necessity.
Truman Show time.
I'm excited.
A film that I've always wanted Rachel to see because I think she'll like the style of it and she'll like the idea and stuff.
I'm excited.
Let's do it.